Welcome, everybody, to the Neutral Zone Infraction Northwest podcast. I'm Drew, and we are going to talk about some sports today. So another tough loss for the Seahawks over the weekend. It was a hot, soggy, nasty day over in Tennessee, and, we really showed it in the way that we played. A lot of the time on defense, especially in the second half, and the way that our offense started the game. There was just like always, there's some good takeaways and there's some bad takeaways. And we're going to get into all of it right away with my love, not so much love, Seahawks of the week. All right, let's start with the bad first. Not so much love this week for Richard Sherman. Oh my gosh, dude. You've got to chill. You've got to chill harder than you've ever chilled before. 3 penalties on 1 play. Now, he has a small argument on the first call of holding against him when Cam Chancellor made the interception. I mean, there was an argument. It could have gone either way on whether or not it actually was holding. But the arguing it after it's happened and the taking your helmet off on the field and the unsportsmanlike conduct that followed, now that's dumb. And it gave the Titans excellent field position, moved the chains for them, and they ended up scoring on that drive. So you got to look a little bit to yourself, Richard Sherman, and decide, is it the Richard Sherman show or is it the Seattle Seahawks that are most important? And for that play and for the one where you went after Marcus Mariota on the sideline, now it was a bang-bang play. It was close. He was barely out of bounds, but it's a quarterback. He's going out of bounds. You know he's going out of bounds. You just got to not. And Richard Sherman should be a leader on this team. And he is to some extent. But you got to lead by example, and you got to lead with a calm, cool, and collected head. And he wasn't that this Sunday, not by any stretch of the word. And it showed in his play, and it definitely showed with all the penalties that he got, especially just very easily preventable penalties. So some of the good in the game, our offense really kicked it into gear, especially in the second half when we were down. It was ultimately too late and we lost, but we really looked good, and a big piece of that was Doug Baldwin, who's my love Seahawk of the week. The guy was making plays. He was getting open. He was shaking guys. He was everywhere. And then he unfortunately got injured, and that prevented him from being where he wanted to be, but he was still on the sideline. He was still getting people to line up in the right place. He was still being a leader, and it was really, really important for him to do that, and it's super important for him to do that because he's really the only huge name receiver that we have on our team. He is the guy, and when he goes down, he's going to have to do whatever, and he's listed day to day. So if he can't go this week against the Colts, I'm sure he's going to be right there on the sideline, coaching the guys up, getting them ready to go. And he had a really, really great game. It was the Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin show there for a little while, and they sort of took the game over, and a lot of really great stuff from him. Always excellent routes and just finding ways to get open in a crafty way. Really great stuff from him. So, penalties. Penalties were a big story in this game. Penalties, inability to get off of the field on third down for a defense, giving up big plays as a defense, starting out extremely slow as an offense. Those are some of the big themes of this game. And something's got to change. Something's got to get fixed. If I am the Seahawks coach, if I'm Pete Carroll, the first thing I'm doing on Tuesday when everyone comes back in and we're getting geared up for practice, I'm taking every single person who is on that sideline. We're all going to go stand on the 50-yard line. I'm going to put a ball on the 50-yard line, and I'm going to explain to everyone what a line of scrimmage is and how you can't cross it, how you can't jump until the ball's snapped. Too many false starts, too many offsides. And, offsides have been something that we've dealt with as a fan base, and something that the Seahawks have done a lot of in the last few years, particularly Michael Bennett. And one of the rationales that always gets thrown around is, well, they're trying to get an edge so that they can rush the quarterback. Like, okay, that's great. Trust me, I love a sack as much as the next guy. Sacks are great. Sacks are excellent. But when you get 0 QB hits, no hurries, no sacks, you couldn't touch Marcus Mariota unless he ran the ball this game. You couldn't touch him. Now, a lot of that had to do with how quickly they were getting the ball out and the way that they were using him in space and swinging him out wide. But, man, you just can't have that. You can't give them free yards in the NFL in their own stadium and expect to come out with a win. And we didn't. And a lot of it had to do with giving up those free yards, and especially not getting off the field on first down. Crazy. It was hot. It was a humid, hot, nasty, soggy day there on the field in Tennessee, and it really showed. It showed at the end of the game when we could not stop them in the run, even though we held them to basically nothing in the first half. It's just fatigue. It's fatigue. And some of that is on the offense for the time of possession woes that there were. I mean, the first quarter of that game was atrocious with time of possession the way that it was. It was crazy. But it ultimately is going to land on that defense. I've said it already. I'd say it again. I'm going to say it again. They are held to a higher standard. That's what the team is built as, a defensive, run-the-ball team. And since we couldn't get the offense going, the defense had to carry their bargain and to carry the load, and they did, really, for right up until the last 2 minutes of the first half. And then it sort of fell apart. You're giving up huge plays. You're giving up huge chunk plays. And you got to fix the boat. The boat's leaking. Got to fix it. And I don't know if that means rotating out more guys. I don't know if that means running the ball more on the other side. I sure hope so, because, again, rushing the ball, we couldn't do anything. So that seems to be a theme. And we start slow. But eventually, how deep of a hole are you going to put yourself in? How far behind the 8 ball are you going to get before it's too far and you can't do anything? It's the NFL. Anyone will come out any week and club you in the head. And that was shown all across the week, all across the NFL this week. Anybody can club anyone in the head at any given time. You better watch your heads, because they're clubbing. They're coming. So there's really an identity problem with this Seahawks team right now. What kind of team are we? I don't know. Are we a run-first team? Sure doesn't seem like it when 5 out of 6 plays in your first 5 out of 6 plays are pass plays. Okay. And then you start to move the ball. You really start to churn and burn, and you got that sweet touchdown pass to Luke Wilson. And then with a good mixture of pass and a good mixture of run. And then you come out and you keep trying to pass the ball, and then we got behind, so we had to pass the ball. Okay, that's understandable. If we're going to pass the ball, then we're going to pass the ball. Then that's what we need to be. I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't think that we're quite to the change the philosophy point, because if that's the case, we got all the money in all the wrong places. So we shouldn't be trying to change philosophy on a whim. But are there some things that we can do to be more effective? Yes. Stick with the run, even when it's not working, because it'll wear you down over the course of a game. I think the Tennessee Titans proved that more than anything when they punched us in the mouth. And I think that once that happens, and it seems so easy, it seems so just basic and obvious, but once that happens, then you have the play action to work off of. And that's the template that they want to use. But it's not working. And they're not sticking to it in the game. And you can point to whoever you want. There's one guy calling the plays, but you gotta figure it out. What's your identity? If it's physical, intense, get out there and club someone in the head, then do it. Prove it. You haven't done that. The Seahawks have not done that to this point, and they better start. They better start this Sunday in Indianapolis. Well, in Seattle, against Indianapolis. Because prime time, we got a Colts team coming in without Andrew Luck. They got Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I mean, you can handle this. This is a game that should be handled. Like, there was the stretch in our Super Bowl runs of 2013, 2014, and even as far as, 2015, where they didn't want to slot us in primetime games because we blew people out of the water at home. That's what you got to do here. You got to take this team, this Colts team that is not a contender, and you got to flush them out of the city. Just get them out of here. They're not worthy. If that's not what the game looks like at the end, then something's wrong. You got to come away with the win. Any way you can. But to make me feel good, to make me feel the way that I felt going into the season as far as where my expectations are, you got to go in there and you have got to get them out of our building. Just get them. That's what you got to do. And I don't want to be all doom and gloom about where the Seahawks are right now. I still think our roster is up and down it's top 5 in talent level from what I can see. Now, there's a particular amount of bias there, but there's still a lot of optimism in me. all of my pessimism is just closeted optimism waiting to come out. I'm ready. I'm ready for it to just explode and be what I want it to be. I think there's one thing. Well, there's a lot of things, but there's one clear thing that you have to do in this game to get back your identity. And that goes right back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show. Own the line of scrimmage. Understand what it is. Understand when you get to move on it and own it. You lost to the Tennessee Titans. The Seattle Seahawks lost to the Tennessee Titans because they owned the line of scrimmage. We could do nothing against their offensive line. And once they tired out our defense, by the way, one of the oldest defenses in the league, if not the oldest, then they ran all over us. And we can't set that blueprint going forward. We can't set the blueprint of, okay, all you got to do is run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Eventually they'll get tired. Their offense won't be able to do anything in the meantime, and then you'll be able to blow them out of the building. It's not a good blueprint to set. That's not a good way to move forward. So you got to own the line of scrimmage in Seattle on Sunday night, and I look forward to seeing it happen. All right, so before we get out of here, I want to talk about the rest of the NFL in the form of my picks for Week 4. Man, I did not do great this last week. I don't think anybody did great who was picking football games except for Las Vegas, because there were a lot of underdogs that pulled it out this last Sunday. My goodness. I went 9-7. So overall for the year so far, I'm 31-16. So just a little bit under 66.6%, or 0.66 winning percentage. 0.666, but a little under that. We're not going to talk about that. Here are my picks for Week 4 in the NFL. Packers, Saints, Patriots, Jaguars, Titans, Steelers, Bengals, Vikings, Cowboys, Falcons, Eagles, Cardinals, Buccaneers, Broncos, Hawks, Chiefs. So that's my pick. And as we're talking about the NFL, just real quick, I don't want to get into too much of the politics of what's going on everywhere in the NFL with the national anthem, sitting, standing, kneeling, staying in the locker room, all of that. It's been a huge theme, and it's been a huge conversation point, I'm sure, in whatever media outlet you look for. Here's what I will say, because I'm not going to offer my opinion. here's my opinion on how we should all treat each other. And the answer is better. We should treat each other better. Be kind. Have a conversation with somebody who doesn't share the same views with you. Listen, not just to respond, but to listen. They might not change your mind. Everyone's coming from a different background with a different set of life experiences and take everything that they see each day in a different way. So we're never going to be 100% unified on anything. But you got to listen. You got to speak with kindness. And I think that the world would be a whole lot better if everyone did that just a little bit more. So when you're talking to people this week, when you're on social media, just be kind. Be kind to one another. See where that gets us going forward. I hope everyone has a great week. I'm looking forward to mine. And just remember to keep on balling.